Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the LifeVantage Monday night national webinar. My name is Gabe Pearson. Again, just want to thank each and every one of you for spending the time with us to learn more about this incredible new science called nutrigenomics. I want to welcome all the brand spanking new customers that are on this webinar tonight because of our guest, and want to learn more about what the activation of pathways in this new science is all about, and as well as brand spanking new business partners. I know all of you are excited. The direction of this company that it's moving is absolutely insane, and it's just, you know, really cool to be a part of this new paradigm in health. For those of you that are brand new, I've been with LifeVantage now, wow, my goodness, a little over 9.5 years. I spent my entire career in the fitness industry, spans all the way back to 1979 as a health club instructor, making $2.13 an hour plus commissions. And you know what, folks? It was the best time of my life. I had aspirations and dreams like all of you. Mine were to own health clubs all over this country and literally make millions and millions and millions of dollars. I had that entrepreneurial mindset. Fast forward 20 years, I own 3 large gyms here in Jacksonville, Florida, where I'm from. Certainly not complaining. But that age from 27 to 47, I finally figured a few things out. Even though I owned those businesses, those gyms, I was still building somebody else's dream. I didn't own the property that the gyms were on. And I really got tired of creating millionaires. And I didn't own the finance company, didn't own the leasing company. So I parted ways with the health club industry, started my own personal training company, and it quickly morphed into a wellness company. Living the American dream until 2009. Most of you remember that debacle. I mean, I don't think we're completely out of it yet. But we lost 3 six-figure contracts in 30 days, folks. Literally brought us to our knees. And it's kind of interesting, you know, when one door is starting to close, I mean, it wasn't closed by any means, but it was starting to close. Another one opened. And I'm hoping some of you that are on tonight, you know, your universe is opening a little bit. I got invited to be a keynote speaker in Atlanta. I went up there to drum up new business, try to retool my company, and a complete stranger, you heard it right, a complete stranger had the courage to walk up to me after my keynote and asked me if I've ever heard of a product called Protandem. And folks, let me tell you something. If there wasn't 8 to 10 people waiting in line to speak to me behind her, there's a good chance I would have turned around and walked away from her. But the next thing came out of her mouth retired me from the fitness industry 22 months later. And that was, would I be willing to watch a 9-minute video on an ABC primetime investigative report? That was my hook. And I actually said this sarcastically. I said, you mean to tell me ABC News did a positive spin? Let me see it. So when I watched that video, the precise moment this world-renowned scientist, who, by the way, never even heard of before, gives John Quinones his blood test results, I'm elbowing my wife. I'm like, honey, that hasn't happened yet. That's history in the making. And if we can validate this, I think we're onto something. Just completed developing the wellness program for the Mayo Clinic. When those doctors validated this for me, the rest was history. So tonight we're going to talk about why I'm so excited. I have an incredible guest on tonight, and I have to read his bio. It's that robust. Let me share just a few parts of it. He's a graduate of the University of New England College of Osteopathic Medicine. Check this out. Began studying nutrition, medicinal plants, and herbal medicine more than 40 years ago. As an undergraduate in psychology, he co-published The Healing Nutrient Within and multiple articles in the fields of neuropsychology, substance abuse, and brain toxicology. He continued to publish books, including The Smart Guide to Taurine and Your Cancer Battle Manual in 2009. Medical journal publications in the field of cognition, as well as writing for the Scientific American Magazine and the American Osteopathic Association. Wow, that's a mouthful. Please welcome Dr. Richard Smayda. Dr. Smayda, how are you?
Hi, Gabe. I am wonderful tonight. Wonderful.
I really appreciate your time. I started getting tongue-tied. I apologize if I kind of screwed that up a little bit, but it's a little bit above my pay grade. Well, listen, we just met in Charleston, so welcome to Life Vantage. Congratulations on an incredible first month. And I was just so fascinated with your story. I wanted you to get on this webinar tonight. So just in a few minutes, can you just kind of maybe, add some things I haven't added about you? And why did you choose Life Vantage with everything else that you've had going on in your life?
Well, I'll lead off on something you said. You said something about difficult times. I'll tell you that at your most desperate times, do you realize your true potential? And so, I've been a weightlifter, a martial artist. I've climbed rock walls in Acadia. And when I was hanging from the rocks in Acadia, I said, at one point, at your most desperate times, do you realize your true potential? So, having been a weightlifter, a wrestler, a martial artist, I'm used to being beat up. And so, when you have a challenge, you can either rise to the top or you can let it beat you. And these nutrients are really a battle plan, because I've sampled many products. People have mailed me boxes of all kinds of things. I've lectured in Europe and the States. And really, what I found is I had a testimony of these products, because I was never convinced by any of the colored labels, the plastic bottles, the shippings, the colorful products that they were sharing with me. I was convinced by the effect. And so I strongly recommend that people take these things and get a personal testimony, and you'll never go back. That's the beginning of your success, is ingraining it into your own personal nutrigenomics.
I love that. I mean, as long as I've been with this company for 9.5 years, I really have yet to hear it stated that way. Now, nutrigenomics, the Today Show not too long ago says this: the latest trend in nutrition isn't a fad diet or a newly discovered supplement. It's your DNA. And nutrigenomics is the ability to use nutrition to affect our genes. Means we are no longer at the mercy of our DNA. I mean, how familiar were you with nutrigenomics before you heard about Life Vantage?
Well, the funny thing is I've been having people mix powders of bacopa and theanine and green tea and astragalus and teaching them how to hack their own biohacking of the brain and the body. But it's so time consuming and the labor intensive, and they have bags of powder and capsules and bottles, and only the few could actually pull it off. So I was very excited when I saw a synergistic formula where all of the constituents in these formulas all work together as one, as I say, special forces team.
Yeah, well, let's talk about our flagship product. Let's talk about Protandim. Just kind of walk the audience through, what is Protandim? What is NRF2? And what does it mean by activating, instead of supplementing?
Well, basically, I've swallowed enough nutrients in my life to choke a horse. And basically what happens is your body will down-regulate. It'll basically block absorption of things if you're overdosing. So what I've seen with these products, and I was overjoyed, is that if you have a military, special forces, you have first the constituents that are blocking the toxins. They're blocking the bad guys from coming in, and then you're fixing your internal matrix, and then if you're blocking the bad guys on the outside and the inside, you can now rebuild. And so unless you're doing that, you're only, you have expensive urine and you spend a lot of money on pills that are really getting washed throughout your body. But the beauty is that the intensive logic of this company is your biggest immune system is your gut. If you're not fortifying that biome first to bring all the special forces in, then you have nothing. And so, you know, all of these different substances I was very familiar with, from Sucuma longa to ashwagandha, green tea extract, milk thistle, turmeric, curcumin. These are things I eat, slept, and drank for many years. And I'm so delighted that they're in a synergistic matrix that actually gets into the cellular level and, you know, has an antioxidant effect on our genes that protects our genes, our DNA from breaking down. So, you know, if we're repairing our DNA and we're not letting it get broke down, then we're actually building matrix. We're building and changing our genomics or epigenetics so that in the future we don't have abnormal DNA and increased risks of cancer and exposure to toxins that are tearing us down.
I think what I needed when I saw the ABC primetime news piece, and I had a really bad taste in my mouth about this industry, about network marketing. You could say I was a network marketer's worst nightmare. And when I went to the Mayo Clinic doctors, I needed them to help me to understand, who does this doctor think he is that can patent turmeric? To me, back then, it was like trying to, patent broccoli. He didn't invent it. And so when the Mayo Clinic doctors sat me down and opened up, the Free Radical Biology and Medicine, very powerful journal, on what you were just talking about, on the synergy of those 5 ingredients that changes the chemistry, that increases gene expression 18-fold. So folks, that means it's 1,800% more powerful than taking green tea extract by itself or turmeric by itself. That's when the light bulbs went off for me.
Well, this is exponential, right? It's not just 1 + 1 + 1. It's 1 × 1 × 1 × 1. And basically you've got the body is quantum. No nerve cell fires without a quantum release of calcium in the body. The body is quantum. These things have to work together, but they're each hitting different mechanisms that is potentiating the other mechanisms. So, without preserving the gut and decreasing oxidative stress and protecting the DNA and increasing the mitochondrial energy, you're not hitting all the mechanisms. You're just throwing pills, or in a war, you're just throwing bombs randomly at things. This is a scientific recipe, and chefs have recipes all the time. And you go into the best restaurant and you can't get that anywhere else. Why would it be different for a nutrigenomic that's the best recipe that actually works? You go back to that restaurant. And so whether it was MLM or not, I didn't care. I wanted it. It didn't matter to me. It's just get it done. I'm ready. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to do 50, 60-pound flies today. I'm rocking. I felt like I did testosterone. And there was no stimulants in there. And there were no drugs in there. There are no hormones. So, this free radical potential that is demonstrated by all of these universities, and from Ohio State to University of Montreal to Amsterdam. And so, basically the world, the millennials are ready for this. And so, the exercise industry, the nutrition industry, the medical industry, the rehab industry, it's here, it's now. And got to get on the train. And I think it wasn't important to me whether it was MLM or it was, something created in an underground lab that they finally did at least 20 journal research articles, right?
Right. Now let me. You've got your tenure spans decades. Have you ever seen peer-reviewed studies, especially, over 24 of them now, on a dietary supplement before?
Well, over the years, I've read Andrew Weil. I've, studied all of the best pharmacognosy institutes. And, really what's happened is we have a transformation, because what's happened is technology was trying to prove that natural things didn't work. Now the technology and the computers are proving what these natural substances do and why they work. So I find it very fascinating that we have very high-tech computers showing us that what we've done for hundreds and thousands of years and why it works.
Now, activating this pathway, NRF2, upregulating glutathione by 300%, turning on your body's ability to do what it was meant to do for the first 20 years of life, and that's make more survival genes. Have you seen anything like that before in your career so far?
Well, the fascinating thing is I've looked at all of these things separate. And then when I saw them together, it was so remarkable to see. And then I took it and I was astounded at my response, because, I've been training my body with weights for at least 30 years. And when I eat something, I feel it right away, because I'm in pretty good balance. I don't put anything that's not natural in my body. So I had an immediate response because, I have a clean diet. And so that's why it's so important that this is basically the yeast in the best recipe, where if everything's right, it rises and it's perfect. These are little micro magic nutrients that are like the pixie dust to something that has all the right components. And so I was very surprised at the response, and I was very surprised at the synergistic components in the ratios they are. And I was delighted to not have to mix powders in a smoothie every day.
Right, exactly. Well, I've been around fitness myself over 30 years, have an extensive, background in nutrition. Before this company, before this new science, I would always tell everybody what comes out of the ground that God creates, you eat. What man makes, you run the heck away from. And with the synergy of these 5 ingredients, I can't say that anymore, because, getting your body to do what it was meant to do for the first 20 years of life is pretty incredible to me. Now, this next slide I have, I'll let you read it, but this is what's being said about NRF2 activation. So people ask me all the time, what is Protandim? It's hard for me not to use the word supplement, because it does this product an injustice. It's an activator, activates the NRF2 pathway. And this is, I'll let you read this. This is what Washington State University is saying about this new science.
Well, it's saying that we may be on the verge of a new literature on health effects of NRF2, which may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and most extraordinary preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. And clearly it's at the cellular level. And people are going to be talking about nitric oxide and NRF2 and serotane and mTOR proteins. And as you progress, people progress in this culture, their lives are going to be changed forever, both monetarily, physically, mentally, and they're going to change their lives forever as customers and distributors. This is not something that's going to impact one facet of your life. This is going to consume every aspect of your life in a way that you never imagined possible.
Well, what I try to help everyone understand is what oxidative stress is, because the layperson thinks it has something to do with emotional stress. And I'm saying, no, it's how and why we age on a cellular level, and it's a major contributing factor on how we get diseases. So since I am not a doctor, what I do is just send them, to our Library of Science, pubmed.gov, and I just have them type in oxidative stress and then / a disease that's pertinent to their gene pool. And what you see today, 9 years later than what it was when I started, was now over 250 diseases. Over 95% of them is directly linked and connected with oxidative stress.
Oh,
It's amazing to me.
absolutely. From Parkinson's to ALS to even the oxidative stress of infections or Lyme or the autoimmune diseases. There's even Smayda's syndrome that I documented, autoimmune disease of the brain affecting Parkinson's. And so, but realizing that inflammation can be in every cell of our body, and the important part of our changing the biome is fixing the biome in the gut, changing the pharmacogenetics, and with natural things that are like nutraceuticals at a micro level, whereby we don't have to take large amounts of everything. And the inflammation, in our cells, many of the terms that people see are cyclooxygenase or arachidonic acid, and then they're given these drugs, anti-inflammatories, which damage their kidneys. And so ultimately we're building up the kidneys, we're building up the liver. Milk thistle's very active in the liver. And so, all of these nutrients can each work together. It's like special forces. I can't equate it to anything else but special forces, and how they don't have a huge amount of people, but they have a small amount of people that are all doing the right thing together. And so very scientifically based, and even the founders of our country said that the doctors of the future, I guess it might have been Edison, said doctors of the future are going to be using natural things to heal our bodies, but at micro levels. And so, we do have an extraordinary resource here, and I don't think that we would have realized it had we not had computers. And so, but I won't get too deep into the science, but I can tell you that having studied edible plants in the forest with my mother when I was, I don't know, 8 or 10, and I'm 55 now. So, there's an incredible resource here that had you not had a chance to study out history, let me tell you, I've been studying this stuff for many years. This is the real deal.
Well, you've gone back a couple of times to synergy and the power of not having too many. And actually, Protandem, our NRF2 activator, has a brother or a sister or a relative, however you want to call it. It's the NRF1 pathway. And I'm going to, go to that slide right now. Can you kind of walk everyone through the difference between the NRF2 pathway that we just talked about and this product, the NRF1 activator?
Oh, sure. Well, the NRF Synergizer, okay, it can help improve performance through energy production, which they call ATP in our mitochondria. They can enhance cellular health. Our cells function at peak performance if they have balanced chemistry. And so these chemicals like coenzyme Q10 can help balance the electrical charges so that our chemicals aren't unstable. And when they're not unstable, then you have a higher boost of energy and the body isn't dragging like a dim light. And so this network inside of our cells is protected with the alpha lipoic acid, the grape seed extract, which has oligomeric procyanidins, or basically cyanide molecules that protect us from stress, just like they protected the grape plant. We have quercetin, which is powerful. Some of the examples are quercetin is amazing in asthmatics. Well, asthmatics have huge oxidative stress in their lungs, and that's like the #1 nutrient for asthmatics. Acetyl L-carnitine helps fatty acid metabolism. It helps our our cell wall functions. And so if we're not protecting ourselves at every level of the game, then we're going to have a weak link. And you're only as strong as your weakest link, and whether it's a chain or whether it's a network of people. And so these formulas here are the matrix that help connect our cells and hold them together so that the NRF1 and the NRF2 can synergize together.
Well, everyone says, and when I say everyone, I'm talking about people like yourself that have decades and decades of experience in the natural world of products say this is the most powerful 1-2 punch out there. And folks, just to kind of keep it simple for the lay people like myself, who could use more energy? Who could use a little bit of better sleep? Because that's what this product does. So what Dr. Smayda was just talking about, how it increases cellular ATP. I'm sure you probably might vaguely remember maybe 7th or 8th grade, the powerhouse of the cell, the mitochondria. Well, the reason why when you get up in age and naps seem a little bit more appealing is because we don't have the amount of ATP in that mitochondria. So therefore energy levels start to come down. And what this company has figured out to do, I should say these incredible scientists have figured out to do, is to turn on that pathway that makes ATP. So getting your own body to do its own work, what your body was meant to do for the first 20 years of life. That's what these products do. And I think that that's just an absolute fascinating statement. Well, let's get to the third product, because I know you're really sky high on all 4 of these products called our Vitality Stack. Kind of walk everyone through what separates our probiotic from everyone else's out there.
Well, clearly, the key of the ultimate nutrient is that it's giving you live cultures, okay? And this product is giving you 60% culture survival rate because it's micronized, it's protected, it's encapsulated, and delivers 15 times the bacteria to the gut than other similar products. Why is that important? Because without the bacteria in our gut, if you killed all the bacteria in your gut, you're not going to survive. We need that bacteria to help us digest our foods and basically police our linings to prevent foreign pathogens in. And so it's so critical that those tight junctions and communication pathways, which basically absorb substances through the lining of the gut and then into our bloodstream, are filtering the right things in and keeping the bad things out. There's even shown that certain bacteria live in the mouth are implicated in Alzheimer's disease. So from your mouth all the way down through your digestive tract, we have to have the good bacteria, because they are the police or military guard that protect us from bad things coming in. So this is much more potent, 60% survival rate, 15 times greater bacteria to our gut that's needed to maintain a good, healthy gut biome.
Well, they're saying now, as of late, our gut is now, considered our second brain. That they're looking at 80% of diseases are coming from the gut. Am I reading that correctly?
Sure. There's even a journal article I read 10 or 15 years ago called the ectopic brain, which means our gut is our biggest immune system, and it's like a wall around the city. So if you have a hole in the wall, you got fires in the city, explosions, and regular commerce is disrupted. Okay, so you need that protective wall, and it's an innervated system that's electrical, it's chemical, and it's involved in protection from pathogens. So it's a defense force, but it's also critical for our life force coming in and throughout our body, even protecting us from rogue viruses that can attack our brain and our nervous system. So it's critical for our whole body's immune system, as well as absorption of nutrients and assimilation of those into our bloodstream, into every cell in the body.
That's awesome. I just learned so much every time you open your mouth. And lastly, let's talk about our Omega Plus. And this is, what completes, I call our core 4, these 4 products, which is titled the Vitality Stack. Well,
clearly, even from infants up to the aged, our brain is 65 to 67% fat. And so we need that fat in our brain. We need it in the covering of every cell in our body. We know that fish oil can help lower the bad cholesterol and increase the good cholesterol. It can help us filter out the bad oils. And, so essentially our diet is very high in omega-6s and 9s. And so we end up being out of balance. So omega oils, which essentially have come from plants, and they're able to concentrate them And then now we can get them into our bloodstream to, filter out the toxins and, maintain a healthy body matrix. So the omega-7s basically optimize energy, and they help increase our metabolism for weight management. And, as most people don't realize, fat in our diet helps reduce appetite. And so we also can't absorb certain nutrients, which are fat soluble, like vitamin E, vitamin D. And so we've got the vitamin E and D in there that can help maintain our bones. It's even shown to affect mood. And, vitamin D is really being researched in a way that we never realized before. So this is a very powerful nutrient in the fatty acid sense, with EPA and DHA, which are the two fatty acids, omega-3 oils that we need for body matrix and for heart health, and certainly skin, because our skin has a fat lipid layer. And so we need to get omega oils in our diet. And, if we lived in Japan, on the coast, we might be getting more, but we don't always get them. And this is an optimal way to get them into our diet, and, support the food we're eating.
You know what I like best about, and people want to think I'm nuts. I just like this fish oil because there's no fish burps. I've taken fish oil probably for the last 35 years, and I just would hate them because I would have fish burps all day long. And this, because you can trace it from boat to bottle, and it's really like a lemony flavor. I mean, people just bite into it and just swallow it. It tastes that good. So for me, I know how important the right fats is in the diet. But for me, it was just being able to be palatable and to be able to stomach it without, being aggravated all afternoon. Okay, so this next slide, Dr. Smayda, just kind of summarizes what those 4 products, and I'll let you cover this slide.
Well, the Vitality Pack is just a common sense thing to me, because it helps reduce oxidative stress. If you're reducing oxidative stress, then automatically the mitochondria can balance their energy production in we call it the ATP cycle. And so we can make more energy, and we can ultimately support our gut biome with the probiotics. We can support the immune system, because if we're supporting gut, we're supporting immune. And then if we're supporting immune system in the gut, we're also protecting our brain. We're getting the omega oils into our brain, and we're getting the omega oils into our arteries that are helping cleanse us. And so simultaneously, you're reducing oxidative stress in the mitochondria of all the cells, which are in our blood vessels, inside of our heart, inside of our brain, and our GI tract or digestive tract. And so you've reduced oxidative stress. You've increased mitochondrial energy, which basically empowers our cells to do everything that they can do better, which is boosting our immune system, our cognitive function, and protecting us from disease, as well as increasing total body performance.
And you know what I love? Other than the next slide, I love the fact that it's, you've got your core 4. You don't have to worry about anything else. But look at the price point, folks. I mean, you've got 4 of the most powerful products on the planet, and I'm going to be able to show you the next slide to back that statement up, for $150. And if you order those 4 together, the Vitality Stack, there's no shipping. So this product is not, it's 13 months old now. Dr. Smayda, I didn't even know that there were scientists or there were organizations that actually test products and their awards, annually. Can you kind of walk everyone through, this Stevie Award that the Vitality Stack just won?
Well, it, as you reported in the International Business Awards, in 2018, there's a Stevie winner, and these products basically won that bronze award because the Vitality Stack was found to be optimal and was categorized by the pharmaceutical system at the International Business Awards. So, basically it's like the Oscars of nutraceuticals, and it's a pretty big deal. The ceremony highlighted the world's premier business awards, and so that year alone, over 3,900 entries poured in from over 74 countries around the world. And so it's a pretty big deal. The Vitality Stack is less than a year old, and it's getting noticed and recognized on a global scale, and gaining huge momentum in the market that's never been seen before. So, it's like the stock market. If you don't invest now, you're going to get left behind. And
Right.
so we're very excited to see where this goes next, but we know where it's going to go. If you have any intuition and any faith in the knowledge of things unseen, get on it, because you're going to be left behind. It's that good.
Well, I find it fascinating that even though they are nutraceuticals, it won the pharmaceutical category as well as the health category. So that speaks volumes in itself. Let's talk about the company. You've got some background in this industry. What did you like? What do you like best about LifeVantage?
Well, number one, I like the effect, because I've vetted, personally taken, for instance, many supplements, probably thousands, and I got an effect that was the real deal, what I was looking for as I was biohacking on my own. Then I also was very impressed that it's on the stock market, and it's been booming, switching from the products sold since 2003. Then we have an investigative report by ABC, primetime 2005. Then we have retail to direct sales in 2009. And so what I'm seeing is, I'm very happy and confident because of exemplary corporate leadership. We've got 100 years of combined experience in network marketing in these leaders, and founded in science and nutraceutical research. And so it gives me great confidence that this company is here to stay, and we're going to end up with 100 research studies ultimately.
That's what I like best about it is, this was a biotech company, folks. Had no intentions ever being in the networking space. But because it's a very complicated product, and I'm talking about Protandim NRF2, all of us could have bought this product in a GNC store. Think about that, as far back as 2005. And no disrespect to people who work in a GNC store, but they certainly couldn't tell us the difference between a direct antioxidant versus an indirect antioxidant enzyme, and stock dropped all the way down to 7 cents. Think about that for a second. You could have bought this product in all 1,600 GNC stores in this country. They were only averaging 1/4 of 1 bottle per month per store. And essentially what happened, if Dr. Smayda and myself walked into a GNC store, and let's say we don't know much about, products, and Dr. Smayda happened to see Protandim, this bottle on the top left-hand shelf, under anti-aging, and he pulls the bottle down and he says, reduces oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. Now, assuming he's not, up on what that is. Most people don't know what oxidative stress is. Here's what most people said: I'm not stressed out. And everybody put it back on the shelf. So from 2003 to 2009, the company never exceeded $3 million in revenues in a year. Lost money every single year. The company was about ready to go belly up. Thank goodness they hired a consultant. The consultant says, what are you guys thinking? This is an easy fix. Take it out of the retail world. It's too complicated, because store shelves can't speak. and put it in the oldest form of marketing, word of mouth. It just needs a story attached. Do you know when they switched from retail to direct sales in 2009? From 2000, it was 3 million a year in revenues. Today, it's just under $250 million in revenues. And it's just how we've been able to build that business is what Dr. Smayda and myself is sharing with all of you tonight. Just telling the story. So in my opinion, Dr. Smayda, it is in the best model right now for this particular company. And I've watched it grow from 3 million in sales to where it is today. And I think that's absolutely fascinating. And again, being publicly traded, everything is transparent. You know, no embellishing. Every single one of you can look up every single thing that we said on the phone. And what I love is, I love the fact that the company is projected to be in over 100 markets. And we're just now getting ready to open our 15th market, Spain, on the 16th of this month. Now, the bottom line of flags down here, these are the following countries that we're going to open. Right now, those countries are open just as a customer. You can't do business or make money in those countries. But Italy, France, Ireland, Austria, Belgium, New Zealand, and the Dominican Republic are the next in line. So there's nowhere to go but grow. That's what I love about it. And if you think about everything that Dr. Smayda has said tonight, this is what I saw 9.5 years ago. First and foremost, for all the guests that are on this webinar, especially the ones that own your own business. What if the business that you're in, there's no competition? Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing for you? Folks, that's what we have. We have the only all-natural NRF2 activator in the world. Nobody has activators, right? We're first. Now, on top of having no competition at what you do, what if ABC News knocks on your door tomorrow morning and says, hey, listen, we've been hearing nothing but great things about your business. We would like to do a positive spin on it. Now, with no competition and having that advertisement, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Do you think you can get a few more customers a little faster? Folks, that's what Dr. Smayda saw. That's what I saw. You know, so to me, it was an absolute no-brainer. And Dr. Smayda and myself and everyone who's involved have the privilege, and I use that word very carefully, the privilege of pioneering this new paradigm in health called nutrigenomics. And in a few short years, every household in this country is going to have heard the terms nutrigenomics, the activation of pathways, biohacking the aging code, as Dr. Smayda had been talking about. So think about that from an opportunity standpoint. Take your science hat off and put your entrepreneur hat on. As I said at the very, very beginning of my intro, I spent 30 plus years in the fitness business and the word retirement was nowhere on the horizon. And I was able to walk away in 22 months. This is an incredible opportunity for you and your family. So a little bit about what's in it for you. Before I talk about that, this is what I get excited about. The reason why network marketing is the second largest industry in the world today is because the advent of the internet. I mean, Dr. Smayda is in his office. I'm in my office. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. You know, we have people on this webinar internationally. You know, we have people on the East Coast all the way to the West Coast. And we're in the confines of our own home and we're able to build this massive business at a so much faster pace that doesn't cost us anything. And because of the internet, starting in 2011, look at the multiples, how much this industry has grown by tens of billions of dollars. And I hear the 2018 numbers are coming out and it's over 200 billion. Folks, that's what excites me. is because the advent of the internet, and it's so much easier to build your business. Timing is everything. You know, Warren Buffett says it best. If you're going to get involved in this business, you get involved before the wave, not during the wave, and certainly not after the wave. And for those of you that are on this webinar that were lucky enough or smart enough to invest in Microsoft back in 1977, 78, or 79, when you had this long-haired hippie guy trying to tell the country or the world that every home is going to have a computer in it back in the 70s. Everybody thought it was a nut job. And then because he was operating his little tiny little business out of his garage, you know, people just overlooked it. Well, if you invested a measly $1,000 in Microsoft in the late 70s, you're worth millions and millions and millions today. And Microsoft goes through the S curve just like any other business in the world. So look where LifeVantage is. We're at the infancy stage, the early stage. In other words, in this industry, if I mention companies like Mary Kay, a light bulb goes off, right? Or Herbalife or Amway, right? But then I mentioned to you LifeVantage. It's almost like a disconnect. It's almost like a shoulder shrug, right? That's good news and that's bad news. The good news is the window of opportunity is at its greatest because we haven't hit critical mass or momentum yet. The bad news is you better brush up on the science. You better let Dr. Smayda help you out because it's coming with you or without you. So the opportunity is absolutely incredible. 80% of market share, 80% of money that is made is in the momentum phase. The stabilization phase where Microsoft is today, I call that the too late phase. And this is what I mean. If we all beelined it to a brokerage house tomorrow morning and we went to that brokerage house and bought $1,000 worth of Microsoft stock, what are we going to get today? What, 4 or 5 shares? We missed the boat. So timing is everything. So not only do we have category creating products with no competition, with ABC News as our advertisement, now the timing is perfect for this company. So I find that extremely, extremely exciting. Now the business side of things, 93% of people in this country are building somebody else's dream, right? They don't have the funds. I can imagine what it cost Dr. Smayda to open up his practice, right? When I opened up my first gym in 1987, it was $500,000. And then it cost about $44,000, $45,000 a month to operate. Folks, in 2009, I started my own distribution company. I started with this. That's what you're getting. You're Mr. Starbucks. I get paid in all 15 countries right now. And it cost me $1,000. More importantly, it only cost me $200 a month to operate. Now think about that. I'll put everything in perspective. Our wellness company, our best year was $1 million in that year. Well, just our payroll alone was $50,000 a month. So 50 times 12, 600 of that $1 million was going to payroll. That didn't count, legal, insurance, leases, marketing. I can go on and on and on. And what was left over for us as the business owners was laughable, right? That's the reason why, the word retirement was nowhere on the horizon. We get paid a different way in this business. Imagine doing something one time and getting paid again and again and again. So in other words, I became a distributor with LifeVantage in August of 2009. My first monthly residual check was September of 2009. This is March of 2019, nearly 10 years later, and I'm still getting that check. How would you like to do something one time and get paid again and again and again? Right? So how's that working for you, trading time for money? I was a personal trainer. If I trained you in the gym this morning, I'm unemployed until I train you again, right? If you're a real estate person, you sell a home today, you're unemployed until you sell another home. How's that trading time for dollars doing for you today? Wouldn't you like train that person one time and they give me that check month after month after month, or selling that home one time and getting that commission check month after month after month. So that's the difference between linear income, trading time for money, and passive income, doing something one time and getting paid again and again and again. You don't have to be a rapper or an author or a movie star to get paid on residuals, right? You know, Michael Jackson, you know, he came up with the Thriller album. He's dead, long and gone, right? Still getting paid on it. That's the difference, folks. So what I love about this business is it's low barrier entry. You can see there's 2 packs here. We can actually get started with 3 different packs for $300, $600, or $1,200. Think about that. Own your own distribution business for $300, right? You're buying product. If you don't open your mouth other than to take the product, worst case, you become healthier. There's no risk is my point. The risk is going into a bank and signing a personal guarantee. And if you can't pay the $20,000 lease on that gym, guess who's coming after your home? That's a risk. Never do that again, by the way. So what I want all of you to do, because we're running short on time, is get with the person who invited you and let them know where you're at. You know, if you're ready like Dr. Smayda was and I was, get yourself a LifeVantage ID number tonight. You know, work, you know, for the next Monday night's webinar, invite 3 to 5 of your friends. I don't care where you live. Plug them into the same meeting ID number at the same time, and I'll have another guest doctor on that's going to help you build your business. If you're not interested in the business side of things, then get on the product like Dr. Smayda said. He has researched products for decades and decades, and he's seen nothing like this. You know, so get on the product, or if you need more information, get with the person who invited you and they'll give you some more information. But just understand this, this company is looking for the biggest, the best, the brightest. And you must have, you know, some of the ingredients that we're looking for. And that's credibility, integrity, trustworthiness, know how to build a business, large circle of influence. And what we do is we work together, and we you know, teams win, individuals lose. So with that said, Dr. Smayda, thank you so much for your expertise tonight. Thank you for adding value to this company, jumping on board. I'm looking forward to working with you, you know, for many, many, many more years to come. Hopefully this is your final resting place. I know you've had an incredible bio to date. So thank you so much for being on.
Thanks, Gabe. It's been my pleasure.
Awesome. I mean, you're incredible. And folks, thank you for being on. We'll be back on next Monday night, 9 p.m. This is Gabe Pearson. Thank you so much for being on with Dr. Richard Smayda tonight. Everyone have a fantastic week, and we will see you next Monday night. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.